Hi, I'm David Johnson from Moonride.
And I'm Lena Rodriguez from Tarot Down Under.
We are going to channel today on Republicans and Democrats coming into the next election. And I say when we channel, say first we're going to read some cards, and then I'm going to channel.
Right, so let's get straight into it.
All right.
So, the Grand Old Party, they need a new name. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, who said it's grand today?
Yeah, really.
Come on.
Really.
Unless you're talking about money.
They should be talking about the corrupt hypocrite party.
Yes, right. The party of the past.
The party of the past. There's a certain alliteration to that.
It certainly
I like
is
that.
good.
Yeah, these 19th century evangelicals.
Right.
Party of the past. Loving it. Okay, so this is the GOP. What are the issues that they're going to have to really confront as they go towards these midterms? And look, there must be some sleepless nights going on.
Some what?
Sleepless nights?
Sleepless nights. Okay, I thought it was another Australian
No,
idiom.
no, straightforward sleepless nights.
Sleepless nights.
Of people who would have thought they were a shoo-in, Republicans in red states who are now going gulp.
Yeah, what happened? It's what a difference a trial can make.
Look, totally.
Or a funeral.
More trials.
Right.
Here we go. Now, Dave's going to move the screen down here.
Okay, hopefully you won't get seasick.
Yeah, we'll just sort those out. Okay, they get the judgment too. They get Okay, so what they've got is the card of juggling and manipulation. So, what are they juggling? Well, that would be everything, really. They're juggling their prestige with the risk of losing the prestige. They've juggled away their role as being responsible with money because you can't have tax cuts and run up $1 trillion in debt and say we're the responsible ones. So they're really struggling with their identity. And it's funny, I just saw today Paul Ryan's down on identity politics, and they're the ones with the identity crisis.
Right.
Okay, so they don't know who they are, and they've got to pull in the mad old Tea Party faction, the mad evangelists, the repressed and closeted, Christians across the board. They've got all their corrupt endeavours for the last generation being examined. So a little bit of juggling going on.
It really is an identity crisis.
It's an identity crisis.
Yeah.
I think it's them that have that issue. So the Queen of Pentacles, which is about money. In this deck, it's gardens. And the thing about the pentacles or the disc suit is, first and foremost, it's the money suit. And as readers, we tend not to go much further. Pentacles, it's about money. But it's also about the body. And this is a female card. The female body. Yeah. Well, that just opens the whole Kavanaugh can of worms. But also, even if you take the Kavanaugh discussion out of it, just how the GOP does not relate to modern working women. They do not support the most fundamental rights for contraception and teen marriage. America has the highest rate of teenage pregnancy in the world, which then leads to the highest rate of underage marriage. It's crazy stuff.
It is crazy.
And it's all to do with this repression of women's bodies and stuff. So that's going to be an issue for them. Judgment. They who have been judging away, criticising everyone else, are now on the receiving end of public judgment. I believe we're talking about the elections, public judgment. But also, as I often say in my own readings at home, these legal things seem to take forever. We've become very impatient with the 24-hour cycle. But there's a lot of these legal judgments that are crawling along at legal pace that are going to come back and haunt these Republicans. And not the least of which, I think another thing I saw today was some of the right wing of the GOP I was saying to Dave, I don't know who that would be. Like who is the right of the GOP? I mean, but anyway, they're pushing for Jim Jordan. So push away. Go on, put him up.
Yeah.
As someone to replace
Yep.
their own glorious leader in Paul Ryan. So judgment. Judgment every way. This is the whole point I was trying to get to. I was raving on. Sorry, viewers. They're being judged by the electorate. They're being judged by the Democrats. And they're being judged by the world. And so these hokey ideas they've been able to get away with without being challenged are now going to be challenged legally. All right. And their final card, which you could say the rock on which they are most likely to perish. They get the Eight of Pentacles, the Apprentice card, which I think is the universe's little joke, the Apprentice. But its conventional meaning in tarot is attention to detail. And they're really not.
Yeah.
They're desperate people, individually and collectively. And it's this detail, like I was just saying about the legals, that's going to bring them undone. It's not that the American people are necessarily going to rise up, although I'd love to see that in the street. It's that legal thing. One by one, they're plucking off the top Republicans for unethical and illegal behaviour that never gets looked at. So, no real surprises there, viewers. But the key issues are going to be women and health and their deviousness. Having to lie their way out of this is not going to be possible. I think they've been able to just tough it out before. But I'm seeing judgment here.
Something changed.
Something has moved.
Something has changed. All
so,
right.
Dave, for you, let's see what you can channel for us about
Republicans?
the main issues they're going to be up against.
For the Republicans. So what are the main issues for Republican spirit? Okay, so let me tell you. I see two people with swords fighting each other and having quite a battle. Yeah, it's like fencing, when you're doing fencing practice. You know what? I'm starting to get the real issue is inside fighting. Okay, these fencers are on the same team, but they're fighting each other. So I think one issue that's going to come up is the start of infighting. And I'm guess are people going to start abandoning Trump on the Republican Party? Are they going to start giving him up? Actually, I'm kind of getting a no to a large degree. Let me ask one more time. Spirit, are they going to give Trump up? No, they're not going to give Trump up, which is actually probably a mistake. I'm getting that they're sticking to their old playbook that they had before, Donald Trump. They're trying to stick with the old, the whole old network of the people that they relied on Trump's base. And that actually that's not working as well. So they're a little bit at war with themselves. The more they support Trump, the more problematic their support of Trump becomes, because this nation is starting to turn against him, and they're aligned with him. So what other issues, Spirit, will the Republicans come up against in this election? Okay. Spirit keeps going like this. Secrets. I get there's some secrets that are coming out and that are going to continue to come out. A la the Republican Party. Is there anything else you can tell me about the Republicans and what's going to happen with them? Okay. There was a period of time where they built castles to be defense against cannons. The very first cannons were totally ineffective because of their trajectory, where they land, where they just go through the air and they just couldn't get enough distance. That is exactly what I'm seeing. It's just the Republicans are shooting these salvos, but they're not strong enough to hit any of the targets. Everything, if you think about the Republican Party and everything they argued, there's nothing new that they're going to argue right now. They've already gone through Hillary's emails and all these same tropes that they've done again and again, but there's nothing really new. So all of these are falling really short. And as I'm seeing these guys, these Republicans, they're looking really dour and very disappointed. I'm going to ask, like, is there any success for Republicans? And I'm getting like maybe just a little bit, but not much success. I'm getting the number like 70%, more than 70% failure for the Republicans, a higher number than 70, maybe 70, 75. Yeah, that's my instant read on this right now.
Oh, right, thanks. And I think that is the problem. I think you've nailed it. It's the infighting. When things are good, people are generous with each other and they overlook all sorts of tensions and different things. But now they're starting to turn on each other. I think you're absolutely right.
I wonder if they'll turn on each other all like Kavanaugh. I'm wondering, will that stop the nomination somehow?
It's funny, isn't it? We have had conversations about this.
Many conversations, yeah.
How all the readers independently...
Everyone.
Just said, I don't know why.
You can't see Kavanaugh winning.
Or staying.
Staying.
If he does win...
It might be that he wins, but he's not there for long because they get rid of him. But every single reader we know and every single person we're looking at is saying the same thing. And we keep thinking, as a rational person, this is impossible. Of course he's going to win. All the Republicans are... But everyone sees the same thing. Now, it might be that he gets in, but he doesn't last long.
Yeah.
That could be possible. But,
yeah, because Cory Booker is exposing these email trails that demonstrate perjury charges. So it might not be enough to stop it, but it could be enough to erode him staying on that bench.
It'd be interesting to see.
Very interesting. So Kavanaugh's proved to be quite meaty in the sense we always knew it would be a complex appointment, but no one doubted that he wouldn't get just waved in by the Republicans. This is what they took Trump on board for. How hard is it to get your neurotic and repressed judge up there? You know? And it's been a struggle.
It's been a struggle. We're surprised. Again, all of the readers that I know and I watch and I take a look at, every single one is seeing the same thing. And my rational mind wants to say this is crazy, but so far Spirit's always been correct. So I'm just reporting what I'm getting here, whether it's incomprehensible or not.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to look at the Dems between now and the midterms, and what are the issues they're facing. So what's going on for the Dems here? Let's see. Tell me about the Dems. Okay, there, if you could work your magic.
Sure.
There
we are.
There we go. That's very true. Yeah. Things are not straightforward for the Dems. They get there in the end. Okay, so what's essentially happening here is we've got the Stranger of Winds. It's a very interesting card. So my intuitive feel on this little mini reading is the Dems are in new territory themselves. Right? They've been on the outer for a long time now. They're looking at... The pressure's on them, really. It's their election to lose. And so they're under pressure to perform and pull this off. What I think this Stranger of Winds is referring to is the new young things who are coming through. They're Bernie acolytes, and they're coming through with a socialist agenda. I'm using inverted commas because the whole idea of how the S word is used in America is really quite bizarre compared with the rest of the world, but that's another conversation. So this socialist agenda, meaning that 1% shouldn't own all the wealth, and that in fact, surprise, surprise, it's not a level playing field. So while you've got the homeless rising, you know, in every state in America, you've got middle-class families bringing up their kids in cars, this is beginning to have traction. And I think the stranger element, as in outsider element, for the Dems is they're going to have to come to grips with this. They can't do more of the same that they've been doing in bed with big business and talking the talk, saying all these, pleasant liberal things about what should be happening to be better for education and levelling the playing field, but they haven't delivered on it in a long time.
So just to imagine, if there are Democratic politicians watching right now, what would you recommend to them?
That they listen. They listen to the young people and they listen to the millennials. And if you can get them on board for the next generation of voters, as opposed to being non-voters. Had Hillary got in, more of the same, business as usual, they probably would have never voted. And these conversations wouldn't be had because you'd be struggling because the Republicans would be doing hideous things to sabotage Hillary, and that would take all the oxygen. One of the blessings of Trump, I sincerely believe, is that it has exposed the swamp, ironically, on both sides of the fence. And I think this is about the new ones questioning the unquestionable, questioning the sacred cows of capitalism. I really think so and hope so. And why I think that too, in terms of this reading, is they get the drowned card, which is the hanged man. Now, the hanged man has several traditional interpretations. One is a sacrificial element, that someone needs to be sacrificed for the greater good. Interesting. We won't name names here. The other is seeing things from another point of view, because the person is hanged upside down as a willing sacrifice. It is another perspective. So they've really got to embrace this new perspective. They cannot do the same thing they've been doing with the super PACs and backing the same 8 or 10 faces and expect a different result. They can pull it out for the midterms. I think this is talking further out. Right? For the midterms, they don't have to change anything, do anything.
Right.
They just have to turn up. Right? Don't do anything dramatic. But these conversations must be had, because there has to be a distinction between these parties. The Ten of Tides, or the Ten of Cups, is a good outcome card. It's the end of a cycle of that, and it bodes well for the midterms. I'm seeing a lot of happy people, relieved people. I think that is fine. Then I take this to be the new Dem leader in the future, the King of Fire, the King of Wands. Someone with the vision, the power, the imagination, the vigour. Wands are energy and fire energy. So it needs to, it's like a bushfire wiping everything clean, It needs a total overhaul. So I see not long after the midterms, they're going to have to come up with a new leadership. Okay, that's how I see it.
Terrific.
So, Jay, over to you and what you see with the Dems.
See for
what
Democrats.
Are their issues?
Democrats. Okay, great spirit. What do we see for the Democrat Party, especially in the next few months? Whoa, okay. Here's a sword with blood on it. Okay, the first thing you see is Democrats really, I see Democrats on a charging horse, and there's blood on the tip of it, and it's kind of like, we've tasted the blood now, we're going for all of it. They are really looking towards a rout. It's funny because Spirit is showing me actually a battle, and I think it's the particular battle where the English beat the French. I forget the name of the Agincourt. And I'm seeing the Battle of Agincourt. And Agincourt, the French were totally routed. And they just were not in the right positions. They happened to be in a place where there was too much, mud, and so they couldn't move around in their armor. And that is just like it's just like the Republicans, right? They're just stuck in this place. I mean, now that they're stuck defending Trump, they can't really change their colors in the next 2 months and say, "Oh, I don't really agree with him," right? So the Democrats, it is, as you've kind of stated, they don't really need to do much. This is a wave, and it's going to happen. People should, technically people should be supporting Trump because the economy is still good. I'm not giving Trump any credit for that, but generally that's how it works in America.
Yeah.
And this is a really amazing position where people, I think American people actually have stood up and said, money isn't everything. He's still a vulgarian. He's still doing terrible things. Even if you guys are telling us the money is great, there are things that are more important. And that's It's kind of, I also see citizens standing aside and watching and then saying, this is what we expect you to do. You need to go in there and have this battle and win and clear it up. The people who are the spectators who are watching are very clear-eyed, and they're watching and they're seeing this happening, and they're sort of saying, this is what's supposed to happen. This is why we're here. So the spectators could be just voters. And as they're going into it, well, it's interesting because ordinarily you'd see this as a war, like Agincourt was the battle, but now it is turned into a jousting exhibit. And the jouster, of course, is Donald Trump, who is too fat even to sit on his horse. I mean, he's getting there and he's fumbling and he has no idea. So when we're thinking about the Republican Party has now become synonymous with Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. So they cannot distinguish themselves from him anymore, and that is to their peril. Mm-hmm. Because here we are with this audience watching this fool try to get on his horse, and the minute he gets on, he can barely walk forward. He's just a complete dunce. And, the audience is watching. I mean, everybody is watching. And I think that everybody will be watching as he performs this. And I'm getting one more thing, and that is the hurricane. The hurricane that's hitting right now. And I'm getting that this is a big problem for Trump. Okay, you could think of this hurricane as a symbolic thing. Which is spiraling and spiraling and spiraling. It's getting worse. A lot of water's going to get dumped on Washington, D.C. I'm kind of hoping they will slow down Kavanaugh's appointment, because there'll be just too much water for people to get to. I don't know how that is. But as I see it, I see Trump and I see hurricane. And he's just sort of being buffeted by the hurricane. He's just sort of spinning around. I think the hurricane actually has arrived in a very timely fashion, which is really good for Democrats. They can just stand there and watch how he handles this, and he's going to blow it. He's just, every step of the way, he's going to blow it. Every time he opens his mouth, he's going to look more foolish. Remember that now he's not talking about some people on a faraway island anymore who aren't necessarily light-skinned. He's talking about people from North Carolina and South, Republicans and Democrats, very much a heartland sort of community. And now he's going to have to respond, practically speaking, and not just hot air. They're going to be experiencing what
real trauma
is, and what those people in the island that just got hit. I don't know Puerto Rico. They're going to know, not from a distance, but in reality, what it is. So,
sorry, is the camera still working?
Yeah, it is still working. You just can't see it. Okay,
yes.
Don't worry. Okay, good.
Yeah.
But let's just see if we got any more here. There. Okay, he's saying that's about it. Prepare for a Democratic victory. Is it going to be as good as we expect? More or less. Okay, we already got the numbers, which are sort of 75% success. So I'm being told that's accurate. 70-80% success.
Wow.
Yeah?
That is so exciting.
Great. And on that note, thanks so much for watching.
Cheers. Good. Got to have a little stretch and flex.
That sounds good.